Yo, 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 guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Marijuana SA Weekly, episode 102. And today we have a really exciting topic. We're going to give you some info on exactly what you would include in a 2.4 grow system. We have a lot of these full setups and everything combo packages put together. We've thought about it. We've obviously got a lot of experience with a lot of, helping a lot of people. Our support lines always asking questions of what to include in the system. And we think we've got a cool balance between obviously affordability and on the other hand, practicality and just like usefulness. And yeah, and obviously Dean, the master grower, is going to be, I'm not going to be saying too much, but yeah, it's going to be mainly Dean in your hands tonight, bro.
Yeah, grow season is in the air. The winter grow season, that is. So we've tasted the fruits of our labor this summer. The dank smells are filling all of our homes as we dry our weeds in cardboard boxes and cupboards and old grow tents and whatnot. And now everyone's had a great harvest, hopefully. I know I have. And then, you have the appetite to move into winter season, or you're just getting into it for the first time. So, it's a very popular topic at this time of year, especially in South Africa as well. What do you get for your grow tent? A lot of people want to go large, so we thought we would chat about one of our most popular grow tent styled systems, which is a 2.4 grow tent. There's a really cool site we're going to look at as well with some information related to all of these topics. So, making the right decision and just being informed as to what the different kinds of components do in a grow system can really help you to make the correct decision and to budget accordingly. Where do you put your money towards? Is it putting the most money into soil and skimping on the lights, or putting a lot of money into air circulation and once again skimping on the lights? Where do you want to put your budget allocation?
Or getting everything fancy and then skimping on the seeds.
Yes, exactly. So you want to make sure you're spending the money in the right places, and that's kind of what we're hoping to achieve here tonight. What goes into a grow system and why.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I'd had something like this on or the knowledge that I do now for my first setup, because you end up buying like one thing and then you're like, I need this now. Oh, I should also need this. Oh, I need this. Oh, I need this. And like some of them are optional, but some of them really, really, really change the game. But yeah, let me pull it up and we can explain it all. Let's bring it in. Cool. So we're on this nice
information website.
Yeah. Wonder where where this could be found. So basically this is on the it's a 2.4 grow kit. Obviously there's no seeds on this. Lots of information and pricing. It changes depending on a lot of these. We're going to vary. So this is sort of how the default setup looks, but we're going to just chop and change between some of these. Dean, why don't you just jump in and give us a place to start?
Cool. So the place to start always is firstly, the place to start is in your mind and to think, where am I going to do all of this? Where am I going to grow? What space do I have that's secure? What kinds of environment is that space? Is the space that I'm dealing with? 9 times out of 10 for a beginner grower, it's going to be easier to go for a tent or something like you see on the left hand side, a 2.4 grow tent, because it comes with everything required. Or ventilation holes, electrical holes. It's sealable by zip, reflective surfaces, places to hang everything. But it's still a large item taking up quite a bit of space. You don't want it to, to be disturbed. You want it to be in somewhere where it's, going to be able to do its thing. So security.
It's a permanent structure. I mean,
yeah.
Much as it's a tent, it's not like a camp tent that's like 2 minutes put up, 2 minutes put down. It's semi-permanent.
No, think of it more like this. It's a plant cupboard, dude. You install the plant cupboard and it stays there.
You don't want to be Vietnamese. Literally,
Yeah, exactly. So it stays there until it breaks, and you kind of wanting to have somewhere that's, you know, secure. So think of, you know, the security around it. You don't want it to be, even though, you know, you're within your rights to cultivate plants, it is a cash crop which you're cultivating. So just make sure that you're putting it somewhere secure, that all your equipment's going to be secure, that you have access and you know who has access to the space where it's being set up, just so that you're securing your investment to start off with. Secondarily, you know, investing money into that space, like I said, with a grow tent is important, because the grow tent will ease a lot of the issues which you're going to have when starting out, and allow you to have a secure space to go forwards and select your other items which you're going to need to create your environment. The second of which will be generally, I'd say pottage. Generally I'd say your grow lights, but it's actually clever to think about your pots first, because how many plants are you wanting to grow? As you can see, for this information website says you should select 8. That also then allows you to, if you do parry about stuff like that, to stay within sort of what is deemed to be the prescribed limit currently.
8's a good number in a 2.4, I would say.
Yeah,
I mean, you can always cram in more, and depending, I guess, autos.
I'd say 12 at a maximum, you know, in that space. I push 12 in my 2.4 grow tent with quite a bit of success. There is a huge amount of that training that goes into it.
What I should have said is 8's like a nice luxury to not, you know, you're not trying to push for maximum. You know, it's very comfortable, and like it's a nice, there's maneuverability. Maybe if you want to go for like a very boutique sort of thing, and you're not,
and also, you know, you're starting out maybe, or you know, you're wanting to maximize the specific plants themselves. So if you're doing multiple strains, then 8's definitely an amazing number as well.
And that's a lot to manage.
Yeah, that is a lot. I mean, it's 8 plants to water, 8 plants worth to pH balance to get all your parameters right, you know, and also, you know, 8 plants to power with lighting. Because it doesn't matter, you know, it's a waste of time going for multiple plants if you don't have enough light to back up those plants' bud production. But before we do choose light, you know, grow containers, you're wanting to look at your kinds of grow medium. Your grow medium is going to determine which types of nutrients you're going to want to be choosing later on. Recently, I've had a lot of success with this specific soil, the Auger Soilak Super Living Soil. It's a really nice blend. However, I'm also very fond of for someone who does want to sort of grow soilless organic. I'm also very fond of the Organic Classic Craft Soil. Second, there it is, which is an amazing soil as well. I've had great results with this. You can see we've got a lot of cool information related to, or this website has a lot of cool information related to the different substrates. Or you could maybe go like a 50-50 or a 70-30 cocoa perlite blend if you're wanting to sort of grow more hydroponically.
Could also 50/50. Do possibly, I mean, like cocoa. No, maybe not in this setup.
I would probably go for, you know, maybe a 50-50 cocoa perlite blend, or a 70-30 if I'm doing some GHB
something ready-made.
Or Terra Aquatica. All right. But I'd like to chat about my favorite. You know, it's very subjective, your grow mediums and your grow containers. For me, there's 3 main components in setting up a successful grow, and that is your making sure you have a secure location and a quality structure to grow in. The most important, making sure you have quality grow lights and a quality output of light and enough power to justify the space that you're growing in. And then thirdly, it's having your environment. You know, a lot of people overlook the fact that a plant is a breathing living thing, you know. So making sure you have ventilation and the correct kinds of ventilation for your grow space is highly important as well. When, you know, making sure there's fresh airflow coming in, you're making sure you're not having sort of stagnant air pockets where mold can form within your grow space, and you're just allowing the plant to have a more natural environment, you know. So that's why you see, I mean, those are the things that appear in the top line. I like to gaze upon this beauty of an LED, that King Bright 240 watt, beautiful light.
Yeah, and super good price point for the power.
Yeah, very much so. I would say so. 240 watts. You can put 2 to 3 of those in a 2.4 grow tent. 2 would do it well, and 3 would give you like massive yields in that space. So I'd even maybe in the future say you would crank it up to 4 and do like 1,000 watts in there if you really had the budget,
I mean, that's not too far off. It's not too unattainable, actually. I mean, it's, a few cycles in, within reason. It's some other lights at that price point, you could be looking at like 10K plus.
Exactly.
Depending on where they come from and this and that. So yeah, it's actually not a bad price. And then the ventilation, going for the 200 mil or dependent.
Dependent, I really like the 200's massively high powered. I also really like the 150 size. I found the 150 size ducting a little bit. I just have more of that around. So, but they're both very powerful units. And it's just about it's about making sure you're getting a quality inflow and a quality outtake. On the smaller grow tents like the 1,2s and 0,8s, I rate you can get away with a passive intake and an active outtake. From my experience with the 2.4 grow tent, you're kind of wanting to have it. You need a lot of air movement. So I'm running 2 150s as outtakes, and then I'm running 150 as an intake. Those were the fans that I had. So if I went back to it, I'd maybe do a larger size as an outtake, and then I have one passive intake as sort of like a pressure relief on the grow tent to make sure it doesn't suck into itself too hard. But a lot of
so you
air
said
power.
2 150s as outs, and then
and one
active out. Yeah, and then
one active
in and a passive in. Okay,
yes, and the reason I think it would be,
it's always got to have a little bit more
overkill.
Out than.
More a little. I think it's a little overkill, but like I in my specific environment, it's in a very humid environment where it is, and like getting fresh air to the location deems more power. I'm running long lines of ventilation, over 6 meters long on sides, so that excess amount of ventilation is causing me to have
space,
to and it kills your power. The further that fan has to suck fresh air in, the less power you have. The less 100%. Power you have to work with, So all of these things are things to take into consideration for yourself, but the framework is there. And like the nice thing about doing something like this is once you've got the base fundamentals and their quality, it's very easy to build onto your others,
Yeah, I'm looking now at the, for instance, like this next line. So I mean, it kind of moves away from. I think a lot of these, pretty much except the carbon filter for me, were essentials that I didn't know were essentials until you kind of, this is what you buy on the first your first purchase, and then like a week and a half later you're buying all of these. Maybe not the scissors, but basically
scissors comes like 4 weeks later.
That's that's when you're buying the scissors, it's all going good. But yeah, like, okay, for instance, the carbon filter in this case, it's case dependent. If you guys need if you're in a sensitive space and you kind of want to keep control on your, like, the smells coming out of your tent, you can basically choose whether you would want to add a carbon filter. It's not something that everyone needs, but when you have a case of you want to keep it slightly more discretus.
Maybe you've got kids, and you don't, like, for me, I'm like bathing in the glory of the outtake, but like maybe you have children and you don't want to be asked constant, or like, maybe you're getting guests a lot and you don't want to
nosy
be asked.
Neighbors.
Nosy neighbors, or living on like a, in a flatlet where you step out onto three people step out onto the same exit, you know, and you open your door and there's this like waft. That's just things you can avoid with tech, and that tech is available. You know, if you're living in a big house where it's on a property in a corner and no one's ever smelling it, it's obviously not going to be the issue. Or if you're on a farm or here or there. But the more I think urban it goes, the more you know, the more it becomes a necessity.
Becomes an issue. Yeah, a necessity. Yeah. If you guys want to add it, or you know, you could always just pop it in. It's an extra $850. Very much dependent on your thing. I would say it's close to one of those like optionals. Like it's not going to help your grow necessarily, but it helps the environment around the grow. Everything else directly relates to your grow's performance. Anyway, timer, straightforward, super handy, and these things are fucking horses. Hey, they never.
They're nice, you know, and they these are much more expensive, the battery powered ones. But, you know, with
have you ever set up one of those manuals? They're the absolute pits.
No, they're the worst. Like, the manuals suck, but, I mean, you can get away with them. But when the power cuts, you're having to reset them. You know, it doesn't keep track. And, like, what is a timer for? For maybe some of you who are, you know, watching this video with a lack of, well, not a lack of knowledge, with a starter knowledge base, like a timer would generally be for controlling your light cycles within the grow space. You know, your grow light plugs onto your grow timer. You're setting your timer to your different light cycles, one for vegetative growth and then one for flowering, alternating, you know, and then you're just gaining that control. And a lot of first-time growers think, oh, dude, I can do it myself. You know, I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning. However, I too have been that guy. However, you know, you have one late night playing games, smoking bongs, one day away, this, that. All of a sudden, your schedule's not as routine as you thought it was, and it's not you who suffers, it's your plant. You know, why invest this money and skimp on that final bit of control? So, you know, it's something you don't really think you need and something you think you can get away with. But for me, it's something that I would say, you know, every quote I send out for a system, they say, when someone says that they need everything, it's definitely one of the top things.
First thing that comes to mind is a timer. And then the next three I'm looking at, they're quite funny. These are kind of damage. I mean, if you don't really need any of these, like the hygrometer, I mean, you do, but until something goes wrong or starts going wrong, and you know, that's when these are sort of your probes for being able to analyze what's going on in your tent, and obviously preventative is better than a cure. You don't want to be blasting your plants with, you know, super acidic water or basic water. And
it also gives you that level of stability once more. You know, if you're wanting to track stability, as with most items in a grow, the hygrometer, the TDS EC meter, and the pH meter all just allow you to have actual readings to see where you're sitting currently at that point. You know, so for me, you know, I'm not much of I grow sort of solely organic, so TDS EC for me isn't really something that I check a lot. But knowing my humidity and my min-max humidity, and then also pH balancing even more so for me, are things that I'm doing very regularly, you know. And the pH meter is kind of the investment. The pH up and pH down lasts forever. So
and TDS, for those also, it's I mean, I guess if you're going, it's quite a more sophisticated piece of tech. In terms of its use cases, it's basically for testing your concentrations of your nutrients in a solution, giving you parts per million of, you know, it's basically electrical conductivity between the different like ions in the water, and those and the salts and stuff. So basically, you know, if you want to get a balance of, you know, you want your nutrients to be a specific concentration, you're going to need an EC meter. Very, very handy with the hydroponic setups. I mean, not handy, it's essential with hydroponic. And
also with sorry to butt in, Andy, but with as you can see in front of us, there's a range of nutrients appearing on the screen. That's something, it's a local brand, Umia Nutrients. And if you're growing with the Umia, it's a carbon-based, salt-based nutrient. So you'll use it either or, you know, but they also recommend EC readings. So it's basically you can either, if you mess up if you're not sure if your calculations are 100% correct, Then you can test your solution. Your solution should present a reading to tell you whether you're within your range. Alternatively, you need to adjust accordingly. So it just takes it a day. You could follow the instructions to the T, but do you know for a fact? And then you can actually check for a fact what kind of nutrient feed you're giving, and it gives you that next level of control, to know how much you're feeding.
Exactly. All very, 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 very important things to have in the grow. But yeah, as we basically coming to an end, I mean, on top of this, I guess you would need some genetics, you would need some educational info. You can always jump onto our Telegram chat line. I saw it was popping off on the screen share a few times. Yeah, you can basically that's what we're here for, is answering questions relating to your grows. We offer obviously advice and consultation and this and that. So yeah, any questions, we love answering anything that you guys have come up. We get some really cool stuff, and you can send us pictures and videos and whatever. Really adds to the fun of working in this industry. But yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, seeds wise, anything else that someone would need set up?
Yeah, you need to have a bit of patience. You're not going to get into this.
Sorry, not for sale though.
You're not gonna get into growing cannabis. For those of you who are already doing it, it's not an overnight way to make money, as some people think, or whatever. It's a thing that takes practice, and you're not going to be
way to lose money.
Yeah, it's a good way to lose money quickly because you get hooked on buying all the shit. But it keeps some patience. It's going to take you a good few grows to get into it, to learn about it, and just do your research before you get in. It's very exciting. I know it's easy to just start dropping cash, but do your research so that you're aware of what you're purchasing, so that you can help avoid disappointment. And then, if you don't get the dankest nugs the first time, no one does, or hardly anyone. There are some lucky people out there, but just keep trying, and consistently you'll see better results. And that's what we see consistently in our business as well. People starting out, and a year or two later, they're producing some of the most amazing bud after trial and error and practice. And that's really what it takes. And
consistent. Yeah. I mean, it's all of those things add up. It's quite cool. We did a show on like, going semi-commercial, and like what you would need to do to like train up for that, and all of those things, building consistency, building your own experience and knowledge base. And yeah, also quite interesting. But yeah, guys, hopefully this you all learned something, and basically that pretty much wraps up the show. Hope you guys have a sick weekend, and much love till next week. Peace, guys.